we won't be needing this. Ignore 90% of the D&D lore for beholders. It's not mystic or aberrant. Their motivations boil down to narcissism, xenophobia, and self-enrichment, which are honestly very human traits. They're also very common motivations among other 5e monsters like dragons. My name is Ben Byrne, and this is how to make beholders into nightmare aberrations in your D&D campaign.
Your reality is merely the dream of a sleeping god, and I am its architect.
Beholders are aberrations. They are beings from beyond the known bounds of reality, and nothing about them conforms to the known laws of nature or physics. They are grotesque and malformed to mortal eyes. Merely looking upon a beholder should make the flesh crawl, perhaps literally. What I do like about beholder lore is that their surroundings reshape themselves with the beholder's imagination. Their mere presence makes the world stranger. But for this reason, don't describe beholders as shooting multicolored beams. That imagery is just a bit too sci-fi and evokes the floating disco ball beholder. Instead, simply describe that whatever their eye focuses on, the world twists in unsettling ways. Flesh becomes stone. Gravity loses meaning. Bravery evaporates. A beholder's stat block describes them as lawful evil, but this seems antithetical to how beholders affect their surroundings, or the fact that they're aberrations. Change is a beholder's purpose, twisting and recreating the realm as they imagine it should be. Maybe they're curious about breaking the laws of physics and nature, or maybe reshaping their surroundings amuses them. Beholder artwork often depicts them with a wide, malicious grin beneath their central eye. Whatever your beholder's motivation, just avoid making it mundane. The appearance of a beholder in your campaign world should be extraordinary and mind-bending. No disrespect to Xanathar, but running a crime syndicate seems like low-hanging fruit to an extraplanar entity from beyond human comprehension. Beholders should be heralds of a reality-churning apocalypse. Maybe they're the eyes and voice of a great old one sent to prepare the world for change. Or maybe beholders are themselves dreamed into being by slumbering Yog-Sothoth and exist and multiply as a pure accident of the cosmos. Tying their existence to a great old one makes beholders a more existential threat. Their very existence whispers of an inevitable doom. Or maybe the beholder is the existential threat itself. It's an ancient deity with cults who believe that the world exists only because it is being perceived by that which beholds it from the darkness of the void. Much like vampires, dragons, or mind flayers, a beholder is not a monster that you should just drop in front of your players in a random dungeon encounter. To make them feel formidable, they need a bit of a build-up and some atmosphere before your party realizes what they're facing, especially because beholders are so iconic and recognizable. Your party should feel the beholder's unsettling presence in the world before they encounter it. A beholder might appear first as a gazing eye in your character's dreams, luring and manipulating them. Like and subscribe. Or your party might be investigating a disturbing cult who are trying to conjure their ancient etheric god. During a ritual, one of the cultists is chosen as the god's herald. Their body levitates from the ground. Their bones break and their flesh reshapes itself. Their screams melt into the manic laughter of the thing they are becoming. The fleshy aftermath of their horrific transformation resembles a beholder. Never simply say, a beholder appears before you. For the monster to feel aberrant and alien, none of the characters should know what the creature is. Your players are likely to know what a beholder is, but if you build atmosphere appropriately, when the monster finally appears, your players' meta-knowledge should hype them up as you describe its appearance.
Immediately, a cold shudder crawls down your back as you see a series of appendages release, each with a gleaming eye at the end of each one.
No.
As one giant eye rises up.
No!
What is that?
No!
Being aberrations, beholders also don't need to conform to a singular appearance or expression. Get as creative as you can with making your beholder look aberrant and horrifying. Your beholder might look like an anglerfish with needle-like teeth, a haunting, expressionless face, and eyes that glow like lanterns in the dark. Your beholder might have scales or plump flesh, drip with slime, have mandibles instead of a mouth, or might feel around its surroundings with soft, fleshy tendrils. It might seem counterintuitive to featuring a beholder, but the less iconic you can make their appearance, the stranger, more unfamiliar, and aberrant they will become. Your beholder might have 100 insectile eyes at its center instead of one single large one. In place of eye stalks, your beholder might have arm-like appendages with hands that grip the eyeballs. Or the smaller eyes might float in the air beside the beholder like a death tyrant. Instead of eyes, your beholder might be followed by floating black holes of antimatter that are paralyzing to peer into. Or your beholder might be a roiling ball of resculpting flesh with eyes that bubble open and close across its form like a floating Shoggoth. If you like adding Lovecraftian horrors to your 5e game, you're also going to love Monsters of Drakkenheim. This 300-page tome offers 150 plus new monsters to terrify your players with, including eldritch monstrosities, undead horrors, and whatever the fuck that is. You know what? Forget the rest of this ad spot. Just go listen to the cinematic trailer. It absolutely rocks.
Whoa. With a blaze by his side, we'll ascend and fly.
Join the VIP Discord by hitting that link right there. Doing so also gets you access to a free set of resin monster dice when you pledge, access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content before the campaign goes live, and of course, notifications when we actually do go live.
Together we stand, shall break it out. In the dark, we'll stand up and fight.
There's a surprising number of Beholder stat blocks that are fantastic for building unique encounters. There's enough difference between a Beholder, a Blood Kiss, a Mind Witness, and a Gorth that they all feel like unique monsters. What I like most about all of them is their simplicity to run. There aren't reams of text and spells and abilities that you have to remember like you do with a dragon or a lich. The basic Beholder stat block has 10 flavors of eye ray that all function basically the same, except with a different effect, like frightening, paralyzing, petrifying, or disintegrating your player characters. And even if an eye ray isn't directly harmful, like the slow or telekinetic rays, they still make encounters engaging with crowd control and keeping your party off balance. The Beholder uses 3 eye rays on its turn, and then has 3 legendary actions where it can use 3 more eye rays. Its action economy is excellent. Depending on your party size, the Beholder probably gets to shoot an eye ray for each character, meaning that it can affect everyone in a single round of combat. There are few combat encounters quite like this that your party will have to face. They're getting devastated almost each turn at range by a litany of formidable effects. While all Beholders can fly, their fly speed is quite slow. Even if no character can get into melee with it because the Beholder is floating high above, the Beholder might still struggle to get out of range of deadly attacks or behind cover. I'd keep the Beholder's slow speed because it's a known and exploitable weakness, but I'd consider giving legendary Beholders, like the main stat block, another legendary action option for them to move up to their speed. This is especially against smaller parties where the Beholder might not need every eye ray attack. It's also an opportunity for the Beholder to refocus its central eye and move it somewhere else. The main Beholder's central eye creates an anti-magic cone that takes some finesse, remembering that the monster's own eye rays don't work within that cone wherever the Beholder is looking. Because you need to decide the cone's direction at the start of the Beholder's turn, any character that gets targeted with it can't also be targeted with an eye ray, and escaping the anti-magic zone to cast a spell at the beholder is as simple as walking out of it. It's another reason to keep a beholder at a distance to ensure that that anti-magic field is as wide as possible. On the other hand, a Gorth's central eye has a stunning effect, which makes it challenging to fight, as characters may need to avert their eyes and effectively fight the Gorth blinded if they don't wish to be stunned instead. The Gorth also blows up when it's defeated, which is fun for you and a nasty surprise for your players. These features combined make the Gorth quite formidable, and it's an excellent lower level beholder encounter that you can throw at your players, and they don't need to know that it's not the beholder. Death doesn't need to be the end of the encounter for any beholder. Perhaps its slain body contorts into a gibbering mess of aberrant flesh that tries to skitter off and escape, like the Thing. Or maybe its eyes tear away from their stalks and become eye crawlers from the Grim Hollow Monster Grimoire, except that each eye can still shoot one eye ray. The eye crawlers are easy to run up to and squish one at a time, but there's still one more round of eye rays that your party might have to contend with. Just do anything to make the end of an encounter with a beholder as disturbing and exciting as it was at the start of the encounter. A Mind Witness is another favorite of mine, though again I don't like its lore. A Mind Witness is a beholder that's been ceramorphized by mind flayers. The tadpole in its central eye, I guess. I just don't like mixing mind flayers with other flavors of beholder, vampire, or lich. As I said in our video about making mind flayers formidable, the sum of both parts is actually less than the mystique of mind flayers and beholders on their own. If a beholder can be ceramorphized, that makes it seem more mortal than mystical. The Mind Witness stat block is excellent for aberrant nightmare spawns from the flesh of an Aether god. Its tentacle and bite attacks might actually be worth using, separating it a bit from other beholders. Also in this category of non-beholder beholders that make excellent aberrant encounters is the Death Kiss. The Death Kiss is a Pokemon looking thing that's actually pretty dangerous, and another great, more general feeling aberration to include in an eldritch horror campaign. But of course, all these stat blocks will only feel as formidable as the lair they're encountered within. A beholder's lair is a surreal and nightmarish place where countless eyes bubble upon every surface and pillars of wriggling flesh chitter with the voices of children. Exploring the lair should feel like drifting through an unsettling, phantasmagoric dream. Fight a beholder as it floats in the middle space between an endless landscape of paradoxical staircases. The beholder's lair actions can help inspire its lair. Appendages sprout from walls to try grapple nearby characters. These could be tentacles or a mess of human arms. Maybe the faces of people known to the party contort together on surfaces and scream, inflicting fear, stunned, or confusion effects. An eye opens on a surface and shoots a random eye ray at a character. Instead of a lair action, make this a regional effect that can happen during encounters with the beholder's minions. And this lair should be choked with all manner of twisted beings, either spawned from the beholder's dreams or the dreams of the elder god that wrought the beholder. Gibbering mouthers, ropers, or lesser beholders could haunt the lair of their progenitor. From the Grim Hollow Monster Grimoire, quiet ones could have been spawned from a beholder's silent dream. Aberrant horrors may have been the previous victims to wander into the beholder's lair, twisted by its eye rays. Maybe aberrant horrors are twisted apparitions of how the beholder perceives mortal beings. Oozes may come to life in the darkest corners of a beholder's lair, in which case you should watch our video on making oozes cosmic and formidable. Or to learn about another iconic D&D aberration, watch this video about mind flayers becoming the greatest threat your campaign world has ever seen. Join our Dark Fantasy campaign by subscribing to the channel and comment about how you've made monsters formidable in your games.